Welcome back to the deep dive. So we're diving into some murky waters today, folks. Russian influence operations. You've been hearing those words a lot lately, and with good reason. There's a new story that just broke, and trust me, you're going to want to buckle up for this one. We've been digging into this, poring over the latest from CNN, Forbes, Variety, you name it. Even got our hands on that pretty wild DOJ indictment. We're here to cut through all the noise and give you the need-to-know info.
Yeah, and let me tell you, this is a deep rabbit hole. What you might think are isolated incidents, they're often part of something much bigger, much more coordinated.
Oh, absolutely. And we're going to get into all of that. But first, let's set the stage. Okay, get this. The DOJ just indicted some employees of RT. Yeah, Russia's state-funded media giant, basically their mouthpiece. Anyway, they got indicted for secretly funneling millions of dollars, and I mean millions, to an American company.
Okay, an American company, huh? What's the company?
It's called Tenet Media, and get this, they basically create and push pro-Russia propaganda online.
Wow. So they're using an American company to spread pro-Russia talking points. That's pretty bold.
It is, and here's a real pokey taker. Some of your favorite online commentators, like the big ones, actually work with them through this Tenet Media.
No way. Seriously. So they're using these seemingly credible voices, these influencers, to do their dirty work.
Exactly. It's all about using familiar faces to make the message go down easier.
Wow, that is sneaky.
Right. So let's talk about Tenet Media for a second. They're based in Tennessee, call themselves a platform for heterodox commentators.
Heterodox.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting choice of words.
It is, because you know what? That term, it's often used as a way to dress up controversial viewpoints, even outright false information, and present it as just, a different perspective.
Oh, totally. Like, it's just another opinion, nothing to see here. It's like they're trying to legitimize these viewpoints for people who are already looking for alternative narratives.
Exactly. Information laundering, that's what it is. So the question is, how does a company like this operate under the radar for so long?
Layers. They create layers of obfuscation, make it really hard to trace the money. And in this case, they used a tactic straight out of spy movie. They completely fabricated an investor to explain where all the money was coming from.
You're talking about this whole Edward Gregorian thing, right?
Yeah, that's where this story takes a turn.
Because he never actually existed.
Wow.
Yeah, Edward Gregorian, turns out he's about as real as, I don't know, a unicorn wearing a monocle.
Well, that's a pretty good analogy, actually.
Right. The DOJ indictment lays it all out there. Tenet's founders, Lauren Chen and Liam Donovan, along with these two RT employees, Koshyantin Kalashnikov and Elena Afanasieva, they concocted this whole elaborate ruse, this fake investor, to hide where all that money was coming from.
And it wasn't exactly a small amount of money we're talking about either?
No, not at all.
The indictment says almost $10 million went from RT straight to Tenet Media.
$10 million to make pro-Russia propaganda videos.
Yeah, over 2,000 videos, according to the indictment, all funded by that money.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just your run-of-the-mill pro-Russia stuff.
No, you're right. It was sneakier than that.
They were pushing these really divisive narratives, designed to exploit those cracks we already have in American society.
Which is just, it's scary how effective that can be,
Okay.
People are already on edge, passions are running high, and then you toss this fuel on the fire.
It's like they were looking at our biggest vulnerabilities, the things we were already arguing about,
Yeah.
and weaponizing them.
Exactly. It's like a playbook straight out of, 2016.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Remember all the chaos around the election, all that talk about fake news and social media manipulation?
It was unavoidable.
This Tenet Media thing, it feels like they took a page right out of that playbook, just, updated it for new decade.
It's like a new season of the same show. And it makes you wonder, who else is out there doing this?
That's the thing about these influence operations. They're ongoing, constantly adapting, and they're getting harder and harder to detect.
Which is really concerning when you think about all those people on the other side of those videos, the viewers, people who probably had no idea they were being fed propaganda.
Right, just consuming this information, thinking it was legitimate news or commentary. And then there's the question of the commentators themselves.
Yeah, like how much did they know about where this money was coming from? Were they in on it? Or were they duped?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
And the commentators involved, They're actually pushing back hard against these accusations.
And we're talking some big names here. Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, just to name a few. They've all come out swinging, saying they had zero clue about any Russian money being involved with Tenet Media.
Yeah, I saw those statements. They're claiming they're victims in all this, that they were misled.
Exactly. But it does make you wonder, right? Like, how much due diligence were these guys doing? Did they even try to verify where the money was coming from?
I mean, you would hope so, right? Especially with figures this influential, their content reaches millions. You'd think they'd be a little more careful about who's bankrolling their work.
You would think. Like, I don't know, maybe a $5 million offer from a mysterious Edward Gregorian? Maybe that should have raised a red flag or two.
Right. It's not every day a mysterious investor comes knocking with that kind of offer.
Exactly. And this whole situation, it really highlights something crucial about online media. We need more transparency, more accountability. It's so easy to get caught up in the information overload, to just accept what we see and hear, but we have to be more critical consumers of content.
Absolutely. Don't just take things at face value.
Mhm.
Just because someone has a huge following, presents themselves in a certain way, doesn't mean they're automatically trustworthy. We have to do our own research, check those sources, and, be a little skeptical,
Right.
especially if something seems too good to be true.
Because chances are it probably is. And look, it's not like platforms are just sitting back and letting this all happen. I mean, YouTube, for example, they've already shut down Tenet Media's channel and a bunch of others connected to this whole mess. But it's a constant battle, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's like a game of whack-a-mole. You take down one bad actor, another one pops up.
It really is. And that's why it's so important for everyone to be vigilant, to understand how these influence operations work.
Knowledge is power, right? The more we understand about how disinformation spreads, the better equipped we are to spot it, to resist it, and to make sure we're not unwittingly part of the problem.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This has been quite the deep dive, but hey, that's what we do here, right? We dig into the tough stuff so you don't have to. But remember, folks, the conversation shouldn't end here. Keep asking those tough questions, stay curious, and stay vigilant. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.